Chapter 5. Discover your zone of genius. There comes a moment in the journey of every entrepreneur when hard work is no longer enough. Not because hard work stops mattering, not because discipline becomes unimportant, but because growth begins asking a different question. A question that has very little to do with how many hours you're willing to work, and everything to do with where those hours are being spent. Most entrepreneurs eventually discover something frustrating. The harder they work, the busier they become. But being busy and being valuable are not always the same thing. In fact, some of the busiest entrepreneurs are often the ones making the least progress. They're constantly moving, constantly responding, constantly solving problems, constantly putting out fires. Yet despite all that effort, they feel stuck. Growth feels slower than it should. Opportunities seem harder than they should. And freedom feels further away than ever. The reason is simple. Not all work creates equal value. Some activities move the business forward. Others merely keep it running. Some activities create growth. Others simply maintain what already exists. And until an entrepreneur learns the difference, they remain trapped in a cycle of endless activity. This realization can be uncomfortable, because many business owners pride themselves on being capable. They know how to do almost everything. They can handle sales, marketing, operations, customer service, administration, problem solving, planning, execution. If something needs to get done, they'll find a way to do it. At first, this versatility feels like a strength, and in many ways it is, especially during the early stages of building a business. But eventually, versatility can become a trap, because the ability to do many things often distracts people from the few things they should be doing. Think about a professional athlete. Imagine a world-class basketball player spending most of their day mowing grass, washing uniforms, and organizing equipment. Could they do those things? Of course. Would they do them well? Probably. But would those activities represent their highest value? Not even close. The same principle applies in business. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Yet many entrepreneurs spend years trapped inside tasks that consume time without creating meaningful growth. They become managers of activity instead of creators of value. And over time, something begins to happen. Their greatest strengths become buried beneath responsibilities that someone else could easily handle. This is where understanding your unique contribution becomes essential, because every entrepreneur possesses a set of strengths that create disproportionate results. Certain activities energize you. Certain challenges excite you. Certain problems seem easier for you than they do for other people. When you're operating in those areas, work feels different. Time moves differently. Momentum appears naturally. Creativity increases. Confidence rises. Results improve. You feel alive. That's often a clue that you've entered what many people call your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is not simply what you're good at. It's what you're uniquely designed to contribute. It's the intersection between talent, passion, value, and impact. It's the work that produces extraordinary results while simultaneously giving you energy. And the entrepreneurs who build remarkable businesses eventually learn to spend more time there. Because your greatest asset is your unique ability. That's worth remembering. Your greatest asset is your unique ability. Not your workload, not your schedule, not your willingness to stay busy. Your unique ability. The thing that separates you from everyone else. The thing that cannot easily be replaced. The thing that creates extraordinary value. The challenge is that many entrepreneurs never stop long enough to identify it. They're too busy reacting, too busy managing, too busy handling responsibilities that have nothing to do with their highest contribution. And because of that, years pass without them fully stepping into the role they were meant to play. Take a moment and think about your own business. What activities consistently create your greatest results? What tasks seem to generate opportunities with the least amount of resistance? What work leaves you feeling energized instead of exhausted? What contribution would still create value even if every other responsibility disappeared? The answers to those questions often reveal something important. They reveal where your greatest value lives. And once you discover that, another realization begins to emerge. Many of the things consuming your time are not actually helping you grow. They're simply keeping you occupied. This brings us to one of the most expensive mistakes entrepreneurs make. They spend too much time majoring in minor things. They obsess over details that have little impact on the future of the business. They spend hours solving problems that someone else could solve. They become consumed by tasks that create movement, but not momentum. And because these tasks feel productive, they rarely question them. But here's something worth considering. Every hour spent on low-value activities is an hour unavailable for high-value activities. Every moment spent doing something another person could handle is a moment not spent doing what only you can do. This is the hidden cost of misplaced attention. Economists call it opportunity cost. But in practical terms, it's much simpler than that. Every yes is also a no. Every task you choose means something else doesn't get your attention. Every responsibility you hold prevents you from focusing elsewhere. And over time, those decisions compound. Imagine a business owner who spends 3 hours every day managing administrative tasks. Could those tasks be important? Certainly. But what opportunities are being sacrificed during those same 3 hours? What partnerships aren't being formed? What clients aren't being reached? What strategies aren't being developed? What innovations aren't being explored? The visible cost is the time spent. The invisible cost is everything that could have happened instead. And invisible costs are often the most expensive costs of all. Here's a question that may change the way you view your work. What am I doing that someone else could do better? Not adequately. Better. Because the truth is, many entrepreneurs hold on to responsibilities not because they're the best person for the job, but because they're familiar with the job. There's a difference. Familiarity creates comfort, but comfort doesn't always create growth. Growth often begins the moment you release something you've been holding on to for too long. And every release creates space. Space for creativity. Space for leadership. Space for innovation. Space for your unique ability to emerge. Because the goal isn't to become indispensable to every task. The goal is to become irreplaceable in the areas where you create the greatest value. That's where confidence begins to grow. Not the confidence that comes from controlling everything. The confidence that comes from understanding your strengths. The confidence that comes from knowing exactly where you create the most impact. The confidence that comes from operating in alignment with your gifts. And confidence creates momentum. When people spend more time doing what they naturally do best, they improve faster. Results appear more consistently. Mastery develops more quickly. Opportunities become easier to recognize. What once felt difficult begins to feel natural. And what once required tremendous effort begins to flow. This is why the greatest entrepreneurs don't build businesses around responsibilities. They build businesses around strengths. They design their companies so their highest value contributions remain at the center. They structure teams around complementary abilities. They spend less time trying to become average at everything and more time becoming exceptional at a few things. Because mastery is far more valuable than versatility. And extraordinary results often emerge from extraordinary focus. The entrepreneur who discovers their zone of genius eventually experiences a profound shift. Work becomes less about obligation and more about contribution. Growth becomes less about effort and more about alignment. And success becomes less about doing everything and more about doing the right things. That's when momentum begins to compound. That's when opportunities begin to multiply. That's when leadership begins to expand. And that's when freedom starts to appear. Not because the entrepreneur is working less, but because they're finally working where they create the greatest value. Remember this phrase as you continue this journey. Freedom begins where your genius lives. The more time you spend operating in your unique ability, the more freedom becomes possible. The more freedom becomes possible, the more growth becomes sustainable. And the more growth becomes sustainable, the more impact you can create. As powerful as this realization is, it naturally leads to another question. Once you've identified your strengths, once you've discovered your unique contribution, once you've become clear about where your greatest value exists, who should stand beside you? Because no zone of genius exists in isolation. Every strength creates a corresponding weakness. Every gift creates a gap. Every visionary needs support. Every creator needs collaborators. Every leader needs people whose strengths complement their own. You've discovered what only you can do. Now it's time to discover who can help you do everything else. And that's exactly where we're headed next.